Last warning. You know the deal about graphic language around here, and it's spoilers all the time for this bonus and final episode of our coverage of the original first 4 books of the Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. Kevin, hit it.
Is this a podcast, or is this just fantasy? We're just 2 nerds and we love our fantasy. So join us if you want to nerd out. Time to start the podcast and see. Anyway, here's the show.
Hello, readers. I'm Dane Patterson, the host who is absolutely shocked. I'm shocked I'm still alive after annoying Jax to the level I have for the last year. Thank you for not killing me.
You are so welcome. It was generous of me. And I'm Jacqui Lanier, and is this a podcast or is this just fantasy? The podcast fueled by Diet Dr. Pepper, late nights, Kevin, mild self-loathing, our fathomless capacity to talk about children's books, the friends we made along the way, Dane, and as always, teen angst.
Anyway, the merch giveaway is over.
Yes.
We picked the top 6 winners. There is a post celebrating our winners on social media right now.
Yes.
You should have an email from us if you won. Thank you for all the participants. But if you missed out and you wanted to participate, don't worry. We have one more surprise up our sleeve this season. Here's the deal. We are in possession of, drumroll please, a strong hammer.
Yes.
It's essentially a cool dice tower hammer for gaming. So to commemorate one of our favorite characters for our strong hammer, we're going to be giving it away over on our socials. So dear listeners, you have 2 weeks, just 2, before we get into the fork, the witch, and the worm. To find us on Instagram at Just Fantasy Pod or TikTok at Is This Just Fantasy Pod. All the deets will be there. So get into it.
Get into it, dude. And Dane, are you ready to get into this? Our loose bonus episode.
It's very loose. Like, we have a rough outline for this one, but it is sparse.
Yes.
I am ready. And before we dive any deeper, we're done with the original series.
Correct.
And I was thinking about how long we spent working on this. And was
Why?
shocked. I was shocked by how much we've done in the past 9 months. So I got working on how long we've actually been working on this together.
Okay.
And I might be off, but probably not, because I'm known to be a math whiz. I did some math crunching. Crunch the numbers.
Wizard math?
Oh, yeah. It's all magical numbers. So we did something like 108 days or 432 hours of pre-shoot prep work.
What?
That's the prep work. We spent 36 days or 540 hours shooting in various studios and editing. You took 8 flights out to Colorado. I've taken 1 flight to San Diego. And there was absolutely no way for me to figure out how long we texted, chatted on the phone, or had long, hours and hours long Google video chats about this awesome book. I frankly can't believe we've made it. And also, when I put it like that, I can't believe all I got was that goofy windbreaker suit.
Goofy? Dane, that's a matter of taste.
Yeah, I guess that's true. In all seriousness, though, I never thought we would be having this much fun. And one of my favorite moments has been doing research for this podcast.
Yes.
Most of which does not make it on the show. But we've endlessly talked about, I think I remember in the early days, I told you about Sporkings.
Yes.
We ended up just talking about that for hours. And just wasting so much time talking about how stupid some of the haters are. And
I mean, it really has been about all the time we wasted along the way, Dane. Yeah, the day I discovered that sporkings were a thing online, listeners, if you, like me, do not know about this hidey hole of internet cowards, people just read books and then write, like, chapter by chapter, scene by scene, like, ripping apart how bad they think books are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend sporking right now, but I think what happens is it's a fan, then they start doing it, and then they're not a fan anymore. You know what I mean? I think it's born out of actually fandom, which is the weirdest part.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's strange.
The ones we love the most have the greatest capacity to hurt us, Dave.
So true.
I mean, maybe a bold thing to say, but
can't wait.
But I think closely reading this book series for this podcast, I think both of us felt at times like teetering on the edge of like, might paying this close of attention to something ruin it for you a little bit. And I think luckily we came through with our souls intact, firmly still on the side of we love this series. But I could see how certain things would start to get to you the more you love the world and feel like there was so much potential there that you personally didn't see. I just like fundamentally have a problem with just tearing down somebody else's like creative work just for the sake of it without like anything like constructive, thoughtful,
And that's what we want to do with the podcast too. When we conceptualize the podcast, one of the things we talked a lot about is we just didn't want to be like hating all the time. That's why we use the hater segment as like pointing out critiques that are legitimate, some of them, but like we're not going to like, we love these series. That's why we're doing them. So
we just wanted to come across that we are fans, of course.
Yeah, we're fans of Paolini. We're fans of the series. And like, I just think that some people spend a lot of time hating stuff, and we don't want to add to that.
Really, really do. And it makes me really, really sad to think about it, especially for all the creators, authors. I mean, to the same extent, like you see it happen with musical artists and actors and directors and television writers. I mean, I just can't imagine how much it would suck to have somebody rip your shit to shreds like that. I mean, presumably it might happen someday for a podcast. Well, but I won't be reading that comment section.
Yeah, me either. And I feel bad mostly for Christopher Paolini. He's got to know it's out there. Even one of the books behind us for some of the other seasons, it's not behind me now, was a book of authors after the second book.
Oh, yeah.
That like defended Christopher Paolini. I can link that in the show notes here. And I read that book because I found that fascinating that they even had to do it. And so I feel mostly bad for Paolini. It just sucks that there's so many people out there that are like jerks.
Yes.
For no reason.
Totally agree.
But we're not talking about jerks right now. We're talking about faves. Some of my favorite times were just us talking, though. Do you have any favorite times about the podcast before we get to some favorite, like, Aragon stuff?
About the podcast. So
she's like, oh, actually,
interesting. No, I think I've been thinking about it a lot this week as we've been, like, shooting and editing this final season. And I keep thinking about, like, how unhinged the tone of this podcast is. I mean, has always been, but also kind of increasingly is over time. Yes. And obviously we want to treat the work we love with respect and show that we love it and talk about things we genuinely think are interesting in like a measured way.
Yeah, and care about it.
Yes. Some of the time. But then also I think fundamentally, like, we both always have really appreciated a good joke.
Yes.
And I just really, really have enjoyed all the times that, like, it's clear in this podcast that I'm mostly just trying to make you laugh. Like, I just write dumb stuff trying to make you laugh. And I think all my favorite moments are when that just, like, pays dividends. I have made Dane cry in this room, on camera, off camera, wheeze. I've made him stop recording. And then
times.
I feel like that just amps up some of the time when we're editing. Editing can be rough, just watching yourself, listening to yourself for that long. Yeah. And I think we have, at least most of the time, a way to like add some levity. I think some of the hardest I've laughed ever in my life has been editing some of these podcast episodes.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
We have fun here. That's good.
Yes.
Well, I like hearing that. I like making you laugh too, so it's been clearly that comes across. We do bits here, if you haven't realized. We like bits.
We're big on bits. Yeah, anytime I can just write song lyrics into the script and get Dane to say them with a straight face, it's like pinnacle of my existence.
If you pay close attention, there was 2 times in like one of these scripts of the last few that I just kept saying torn lyrics.
Read the lyrics to Natalie Imbruglia's Torn.
Yeah, that's I like to say Aiden Swap's Torn, but that
I was a little
Jacqui.
sad you didn't name your ship the Imbruglia or the End Swap.
Oh, that's so good.
I had a thought that you might, but
that's so good.
Disappointed me on that. So before we get into, I know we have some listener questions. We want to do brackets, right? You have some basically fanfic you're going to write. Like somewhere in the middle of like conspiracy theory and headcanon and fanfic is a journey we're going to go on.
Oh, yeah. I'm into it. Let's do it.
Before we get to that, though, I think I want to break down, like, what do you think are your top 3 moments, scenes in the series as a whole?
I really like the boar. The ship, like the Roran seafaring.
The boar's eye?
The boar's eye, yeah. I really like that whole thing. I like when, I think this is like really the start of the whole thing with Baldur. I like when he shoots the Razak's leather blocka. I fucking thought that was so cool. Yes. And I remember reading that section. That's the most, it's funny. I remember a lot of things about reading it as a kid, but that one is the most that I like remember where I was.
Really?
Yeah. I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. I thought that was the coolest thing when I read it. So it's top memory for me.
I love that.
Do you want to switch back and forth?
Did you
do one? Okay,
yeah, let's do it. I was going to say Battle on the Burning Plains. I think there's just some such top tier moments in Eldest. It's hard to like, I want to spread them across all 3 books, but mine's just like Eldest. What a great fucking book. But just the whole Battle on the Burning Plains. I mean, the reveal that Murtag's alive. He's Aragorn's brother. He's an evil rider now. We get to kill the twins. We get to see like the Stronghammer in a big epic battle like that.
He comes to Aragon, which I like. I knew that was happening. That's the point of that book. But I guess I really never conceptualized as a kid what that was actually going to mean.
Well, I think too, maybe it's just me, but like looking at the map, I think for so much of that book, and Roran spends truly the vast majority of the runtime just getting like kind of outside of Tyrm.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like the ship is sailing up the river. Time has passed for Aragon, but like we don't necessarily see much of Roran's journey between the Boar's Eye and his arrival at the Burning Plains.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So I think that is fun. I mean, it's a little bit like, how did time just suddenly go so fast? But it also is like, oh my God, it's all happening. Like I wasn't expecting that. It definitely heightens the surprise of that moment.
Of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm thinking Agadi Blodrin.
Yeah.
I also see now these are a lot. These are Eldest. I thought that was so cool. I don't really like, let me rephrase that. I like the elves. I think they're cool. They're my least favorite culture and race in the book. Even as a kid, I was never really into it.
Yeah.
But I did like the connection with the dragons. Yes. I did like the whole thing with Oramus. I like
their religion.
I like the religion that they claim not to have. I even liked the whole like history with the dragons and how the bond came to be.
Yes.
I kind of liked the most romantic I think Arya and Aragon get is that run through the forest after he changes.
Okay.
When they kind of play like tag back and forth and like they're kind of like looking at each other as they run. I really like that scene. I think that'd be really cool. I like Oramus telling Aragon to like calm the fuck down and like
hey bro.
Yeah, he's like, you're drinking too much, dog.
Chill. Yeah.
So I really identified with that for some reason as a kid. I don't know why. But for me, I was like, I guess maybe it's the idea when I was a kid. I must have been like 13, 14, 15.
When Eldest came out?
Yeah. When does that come out? Right? Let's see.
Well, I was going to say you can.
Oh, I could keep talking?
Yeah. I got you.
2005. So, okay, I was much older, but I was like 15. Yeah, 15, 16. And I think maybe the idea of like coming into your own or changing in some way or like leaving the ills of the past, it really spoke to me for some reason. And
yes. Aragon feels like a very middle school book. Eldest feels like a very high school book, I think. And of course, for us, that's wrapped up in time and place when those came out. But the overall vibe, I think, stays true to those books. I'm trying to pick... I'm, first of all, really trying to stick to 3. I want to honor the rules I set out. It is the thing I am the worst at, but I'm going to try. But I'm trying to pick between, like, Trondheim moments. I love Trondheim so much. I think for me, it's always going to be your first arrival in Farthendur and like walking under, like through the gates, seeing the city under the mountain, walking through those gates, seeing the Star Sapphire.
I think that's the episode you were the most excited about.
I was so pumped, dude.
Like legitimately you were into writing it. We were into like talking about it. You loved all of it.
Yes. It just is so cool. I remember so clearly like reading that as a kid and being like, oh yeah, cool. I would love to be there. and I think too, I mean, I just had a really...
What do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's something about that like balance between this like giant mountain and cave system, like feeling so tucked away, feeling so like cozy almost, like a secret hideout when you're a kid. But then also once you're in there, it is on this like unimaginably epic scale. I hadn't really like traveled a lot when I was a kid, and I like just hadn't seen a lot of things. So I think I had a really active imagination. I used to love to like play pretend in the worlds of my favorite books with like my friends and stuff. So I'd be like, we're in the mine and we're doing blah, 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 blah. And so I had a lot of fun doing that with the setting of Farthen Door, I think, when this came out. But
it was like a journey. You actually were transported there, it sounds like.
Yes, but it never looks grander than Oryx's coronation, and I love Oryx so much. That was a runner-up. Honorable mention.
That's a prison because she's already trying to cheat. Here we go. There it is. No, I'm just kidding. Third is hard for me because it's going to seem so weird, but I love the Urgal stuff at the end of Inheritance.
Yes, Aragon being in
I love
Garshfrog's village.
Yeah,
and, like,
and the wise women and the like seeing the culture difference.
Yes.
And I wanted more of them, but I also, for me, it's Aragon's, like, including the dwarfs. This includes the dwarfs too, but him adding the dwarfs and the Urgals is Aragon's like coolest moment to me.
Yeah.
It's when he's really, for me, the hero, and it's the hesitation from the elves and the shock from the Urgals. It's Oric, even his conversation about, like, I might be removed as king, but it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
It's the conversation with Arya, even about how she, like, well, you're going to be connected with the he all of that serves for me that moment is like, no, Aragon is the dude, and he's doing what's right, and he's doing the best thing. And I like the Urgal, obviously, but I do, and that's part of it, right? But I do just think, for me, it's Aragon's, like, most, beyond the sword fighting, beyond the dragons, behind the magic. For me, that's like where I'm like, oh, Bronn would be most proud of him there, in that moment. And for me, that's the coolest moment. As an adult, I was like, this is how he's a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
my third favorite, I think.
Okay. I think in that vein, well, no. I'm going to say Oryx's coronation. I love Farthen Door so much. I said it before. I honorable mentioned it, and I'll stick to my guns about that.
I love that.
It was such a cool scene. Oryx's outfit was so cool. I was so happy for him.
Yes.
It's like a brief period of respite in these books. What a dark horse pick. I'm just...
Yeah, well, do you want to do another one? I'll give you a bonus one. I feel like you want a fourth one.
No, I'm hard committing.
Okay.
I will sell this. No, I really do love it. I feel like it's one of the few times Aragon's, like, kind of relaxed. He's obviously going to go back to Elismira, but for the time being, all he has to do is, like, witness the presence of a god and then party with his foster brother, who we love. It was hot on the heels of, like, CSI Trondheim, which was so fun. Like, and Oric's speeches to the clan meet were some of my favorite Oric moments.
Hot Boy Summer was right before that.
So true. So yes, I do really like that moment. And then I would just remind people that my favorite Inheritance moment is speedrunning the Bellatona map with our gruesome foursome. That was so fun. So, like,
that's a good time.
That'll be my bonus pick, but it doesn't really count as a bonus because I already picked it for my favorite Inheritance moment. I followed the rules, Dane. Yes. It was hard for me.
Well, we got some emails early on.
Yes, we did want to answer some more listener questions. There are a few different things we have. We didn't make it through all the questions in Kylie's email. Thank you again to Kylie.
Kylie, the best.
We plugged through a few of them in the regular season if you missed any of that. But here in the bonus episode, we wanted to tackle some of the ones she wrote in that were more, like, series-wide ranging.
Yeah.
And then I think I have a couple of questions about, like, podcast in general that maybe we might want to answer.
Oh, okay. Cool.
TBD.
Well, these are the questions? These are the ones from Kylie?
Yes, these are from Kylie.
Kylie, where's the camera? Hey, Kylie, truly, if you're watching this, you're the
YouTube.
best. Like, really, really, we love you. Thank you so much for sending the email. It was very nice.
Yes.
What would you bring to the Blood Oath celebration? You want to tackle it first?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Great. I would cook something for sure.
Okay,
it's the thing I feel like I like to do the most. I feel really creative. I feel like that's kind of a dark horse pick for the elves. They seem like very food as fuel kind of eaters. And so I would want to, like,
I love that for them.
Make something really delicious, because I don't think any elf would think to, like, cook something and, like, pass it around so everyone could share it together, like, at the same time. I think that would be a very cool moment, and they would not see that shit coming.
They're all just, like, with their Cliff Bars, like
100%. And I feel like they're is something really fun about like taking vegan food. A lot of people, I mean, much ado has been made about like their vegan and vegetarianism, but I cook vegan a lot at home. I make some stuff that like, in my humble opinion, is very good, but a lot of people also really like it when I make it. So I'm like, I have some tricks up my sleeve that I could make them stuff and they'd be like, damn, food could taste like this. And I'd be like, yes.
Little insight.
Try your sandwiches.
Kevin's talking about little insight into Jacqui. She's an amazing cook. She like cooks very good food all the time.
I'm not fancy, but I do make stuff taste good in general.
I think that's better. You make good food.
that is the goal. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what I would make. What about you?
Gosh. Well, I think what would I bring to the Blood Oath celebration? I think for me, I know it sounds weird. I love giving people gifts.
Yeah.
But I can't really like. I don't know what the Manoa tree would want. You know, I can't give everybody in the Elven community a thing. I might actually just bring my favorite book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like I love to give people gifts, but if I can't give them gifts, I love to give them things I love, so that like we can get into it together, or like I can share a piece of me with them.
Yeah.
You know, even this book, I like just giving stuff I'm into to other people.
Yeah.
So
and have forever.
Yes, and you know what? Maybe I'd give them this podcast. God, heap on them hours and hours of content.
Well, and it would be fun for the elves because we'd be like, we want your honest feedback. And like, I feel like they would love so much to critique things. It would force them to listen to every solitary moment, which would it's fun to contemplate.
Just the amount of critiques on that first episode would be
oh my God.
Heartbreaking.
Wild.
What else we got?
So also Kylie asked, what city would you choose to settle down in?
I mean that's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm living in fucking Tirum.
Okay.
It was never touched by war, right?
No.
It was a cool place. It was one of the coolest places we got.
Yes.
You know, I can sail from Tirum. It's a port city.
Yes.
To anywhere. I can take the lake is connected to that, or is it close to the lake that I can take down to Earlbane?
I think it's isolated from the rest of the continent by mountains.
Oh yes,
they hike down out of the spine to get to Tirum, but it is well defended in that way.
Yes,
so that's good. It is currently an independent city-state,
yes,
which may appeal to you because of the magical Gestapo.
Yes, I might not be into that. I also think that like I'm close to Duelden Varden. I can go up top. And then I can check out where that writer came from in Carvajal.
Yeah.
And if I want to go anywhere else, I can just go on the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I want
that.
to go.
Go hunt Needwall.
Yeah.
for your annual summer trip with the boys, you go deep sea Needwall fishing.
We go Needwall fishing. What about you? Where are you living? We already know. This is an easy one for you.
I actually think permanently.
Yes, your permanent location.
I know. I think permanently I'm going like not Ellis Mira, but maybe like Silthrim or what's the city that they first go to on their way to Ellis Mira. It's like the outpost where they have to like get outside the town limit for like the first elven sex magic holiday.
I know what you're talking about. I think that's a cool place to live.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense for you.
Yeah.
All right. What POVs would you most like to see that aren't in the book?
Yeah. I think I'm trying really hard not to take your answer. Although I'm probably going to do it anyway.
Do it anyway. What do you think my answer is?
Oh, I think you're going to say Arya just because it's one of your big fixes for like something that might help her character be more relatable, just be more of like a fully realized.
Yeah, I think we can agree on this. I think Arya would have been great, a POV.
Yeah.
Because we get, it doesn't make sense too, because we get like Nasawada and we get Roran, who are equal, and we get Saphira, all the people around Arya.
Yes. I think Christopher Paolini mentioned that. I read in an interview, his breakdown was basically like he added multiple POVs when Roran obviously was in the story so that we could figure out what Roran was doing when Aragon wasn't there. Same thing with Naswada. When Aragon left the Varden, he added Naswada's POV so that we could figure out what the Varden were up to when nobody was there. And then after that, as he was writing the series, he said like, if Aragon was present, the scenes from Aragon's POV. If Aragon's not there, but Roran is, Roran's POV. Gotcha. If Roran's not there, Naswada. If none of them are there, Saphira.
Gotcha.
It's kind of his
whole thing to show us what's going on.
Yes, or like Saphira peppered in for like flavor.
Well, here's the thing. I think Arya would have given us, even if Aragon was in the scenes, her thoughts on Aragon first off, but
Yes.
but also how other people view Aragon, because Aragon's not paying attention to that. Even we get
Yes.
several hints that he has no idea how people feel about him, and to see Aragon differently. I wonder if when we get all the stuff in his head and all of his insecurities and all that stuff, I wonder if you see him in action, you're like, oh, this guy's actually fucking crazy.
Yes.
Like, this guy's cool.
Yes. I kind of think the same. I think it might, like, the thing she actually says to him can come out very harsh, but having her characterization, like, because every time we talk about it, I'm like, it makes so much sense that she feels that way, even though the delivery is tough. Yeah. Like, she's not wrong almost always, but like,
yes. Well, I disagree there. I think she's wrong roughly half the time, but I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to see like what her internal dialogue is like, how she gets to those places, and like how, my guess is, it seems like there's enough we know about her to know that she's trying to push Aragon. It just like for you and for other readers who don't like Arya, it falls really flat and just feels harsh and kind of mean. But for me, I'm like, he probably needs pushing for a lot of it, you know?
Well, the only other POV I could think of too is Murtagh.
That's what I said. That's the other thing I was going to say. And I was like, well, if I'm going to take one of your answers, I don't want to take your answer and your favorite boy.
Yeah. No.
Your best baby.
We've been doing this too long. We both are thinking in like a unit, or just like going down the same road.
I know.
Well,
it would also be cool to do like a Nargarshbra.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Get a little bit of that.
A bit of Auric.
Yes, I think Garshbra would be a good POV, just because it would add so much more depth and like richness to the Urgles, which is obviously something you want a lot, but like
very badly.
Yeah. So I think that would be fun, and like give us a little more of the politics of it all too in the story. Like, we'd have more opposing viewpoints. I know we mentioned at some point getting a Dark Orin POV to like watch his character development. That was, we is a strong word. You said
I don't know. I feel like we both agreed.
I couldn't condone it necessarily. It's not necessarily a bad idea. He's just such a dick. And at the point you said it, he was being such a dick. But like,
I think that's fundamentally a different book.
Yes.
Yeah, with a POV from Dark Orin.
I think so too.
I think all of a sudden we're in a political landscape. We're doing, when this isn't a high fantasy epic. You know what I mean?
So true. So true.
What character would you like a spin-off book of?
Ooh.
You can't say Murtagh. It's already out.
So true. Bloodgarm, Dane.
Okay.
I would love, but not from the events of this series. Bloodgarm is so fucking old. Yeah. I would love like a Bloodgarm fighting the Forsworn, like
an origin
Bloodgarm
story
in Gal's coup.
Okay.
Because he had a long life before that.
So you want like a prequel spinoff? That's cool.
I do.
That would be really cool.
That would be really fun. Like just the elven strike force of...
See him dating those dragons back in the day.
Yes, it has everything, Dane. It has fighting. It has romance. It has... it has bod mods. It has
everything.
It's all there. What kind of animal do you think Bloodgarm was back in the day? Like, what was his...
Like his first animal?
Yeah, before he was a panther.
Oh, it had to be something like very... I feel like the first one was wrong. Like he was like, oh, I can't go that way again. Probably like lizard, like he probably tried to do the whole dragon thing. He's probably like scaly and
Dragon Elf vibe.
And everyone's like, this is weird. This is weird.
Strong agree.
Which is why he has so many girlfriends. My spinoff. I think I've always said Braum. I'm not going to say that because he died, and we've said that the whole time. You know what? I would actually take. This is going to be Dark Horse. I'd take a Triana book.
Yeah.
I would love to see her.
That's my boo, Dane.
Yeah, I would love to see her point of view of Nasawada building the new empire as one of her like Gestapo wizards.
Jesus Christ.
As one of her like bad wizard police.
Okay. Yeah. What you want is for Triana to be cast as like Inquisitor Glockta.
Yes, I want an Inquisitor Glockta type of view of Triana.
Yes, dude. Do you remember when they caught that spy from the Black Hand?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of like, that would be fun.
Yes. I think that would be a really good time.
I like that a lot. So we also have some like non-Aragon related
questions,
a little get to know your host.
Let's do it.
That people have sent in.
I don't even see these. These are all.
I've kept them hidden. I've accessed the other listener queue docs. So AJ from LA asked us, do you have any favorite fantasy subgenres, such as high fantasy, urban fantasy, or dark fantasy? And thank you, AJ.
I like grim dark fantasy.
Yeah.
You know this about me.
I do.
I like sad boy fantasy too. Like if there's a sad protagonist with a tragic story that ends sad, I'm gonna eat that up. I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna love it. I'm probably gonna cry with my book. Like it's so beautiful. What about you?
It's a favorite, Dane?
Yeah, your
just
favorite
one
genre.
Favorite.
What?
Cool.
Oh well, I love grimdark.
No. For me,
oh,
like this is the thing I'm the worst at.
Oh, I was like, well, I gave 2.
No.
Okay.
Everything's about you.
It should be. You know what I mean?
No, I just don't want to pick one. I'm like, I'm kind of equal opportunity.
Yeah.
The fantasy in front of me is kind of my answer to that question.
This is a very Jacqui answer, actually.
I know. I think I gravitate obviously more toward high fantasy. I am fundamentally a basic bitch, cannot state enough. But again, any fantasy, if it's got any element of like witchiness, weird creature,
fantasy school,
magic school, dude. Yeah. So I could get into even like some of the more popular now that they're coming out. It's like exploding as a genre, like romantasy stuff. I'm like, no, it's a very different vibe. And like,
you love the comfy fantasy, did you?
Yes, cozy fantasy was very fun. So I'm pretty equal opportunity, but I think reigning supreme always is going to be high fantasy.
I'm just going to lay it back. It's very relaxed. I like this.
Yes. Yeah. So AJ also asked, have you ever disagreed about a book you've read together? And if so, how did you resolve those differences?
We have disagreed about books we've read before. We are in a book club on top of this.
We've disagreed about this book on this podcast. Kevin's looking at us like
Kevin's
he
like,
gets us.
They've disagreed. Me and Jacqui, how do I put this? We have spent, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Me and Jacqui don't agree on much, actually. Well, we agree on a lot of things, but when we don't agree, we both like to argue with each other.
We dig in.
Yeah, and then I think because we like to argue with each other, I think probably argue more than we would argue with anybody else about that topic.
100%. Yeah. I think too, it breaks down a lot. This is going to be perfect because I think oftentimes we're like very, very aligned on like big picture stuff and like the root of the issue usually. And so I think it feels fun. There's like a safety in just like mixing it up over the minutia because we're like, at the end of the day, we're just like kind of aggressively agreeing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
In a lot of ways. We'll be like, no, I see that. But also, let me explain it to you one more way that might sway you to my highly specific viewpoint that I need you for some reason to agree with me about every single like sub piece of.
You just said it. I think we agree. I actually agree on most things and the core things.
Yeah.
Like you just said. But we agree with so much that when we disagree, we're like trying to convince the other person.
Yes, we're like, no, you get me.
You understand.
Get here with me.
And we also trust each other, so we can make jokes about, like, for instance, we make jokes about feminism a lot because I like to tease Jacqui, and like she makes jokes about like masculinity a lot is one of the topics that we love to mess with each other. Politics is something we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So like we mess with each other where we know the other person might be like, oh, come on. So I think we have been in some heat, like hours long arguments about books.
Well, that was the only other thing I was going to say is that when you ask like, how do we resolve them? Like, I'm sure it would not surprise anybody listening to the podcast that we decided to do. We will just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk in circles for hours and hours and hours until somebody finally is like, I think we have to go to bed. Yeah.
And then we leave it where it was and move on. Also, like, I think ultimately we don't care a lot. Like, we might care in the moment because of all the things we talked about, but I don't think I actually we feel differently about this series.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually like am bothered by the way you feel. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I think that just goes to how long we've known each other too.
Yeah.
I also think a part of this is we've known each other for 2 decades.
Yes.
So I think I probably argue with you because I wouldn't argue with anybody like this probably.
No,
I
also was just thinking, and it kind of is connected to like, it's really just the other side of the fence, a hair's breadth away from like, I spent so much time just trying to do dumb shit to make you laugh. I also like will spend so much time arguing with you just to like poke.
Yeah.
And I think we both do it because we do both think it's funny. So we're like arguing and laughing.
Why are you so mad?
Yeah.
You're very mad about this.
Joking and laughing. It just all is a big web that feeds on itself.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, and it's mini books. I mean, I don't think I can. There's one book that I don't want to say because I don't want to like ruin any books or like
no.
speak badly about any books.
I think when it comes down to it, I think we actually end up like.
We like 99% of the same
I was going to
books.
say our tastes are mostly really aligned. So when we disagree, it's not about books writ large. It's about like characters or characterization or one scene or one word in one scene, like it is.
Or this gave me the wrong vibe.
Yes, it's just, it breaks down and down and down into like more and more and more specific things usually. Yeah. But yeah, I think there have been one or two that we've read in book club that like.
I can think of one for sure that I was like, I hated that book. And Jacqui was like, I loved it. I actually didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
But I actually think Jacqui was just messing with me.
I was not. No. I just don't mind things. I think you
I have opinions. Strong opinions.
You take more active dislike in things, and like everything is kind of fine to me.
This is a thing.
Yeah, I mostly like most things, and that's that on that. I can justify most things.
Yes. I think also this comes down to I like a lot of things too. I just also think there's something wrong with everything. Yeah. So I'm not like even if you were to get me in a fandom, so it's like Aragon. You guys have heard some of the things I don't like about Aragon.
Yeah.
I love Aragon.
Yes.
I have a hard time accepting everything whole cloth, which is something that you are better at than me. Or just we're different in that way.
Yeah. I think if only the listeners knew how many of those podcast edits were just me adding in a throwaway line here and there for Dane to be like, I love this series. I'm like, he's like, everybody knows. I'm like, of course they know, but it doesn't hurt just
to remind
for
them.
The constant reminder, just so everybody remembers. I just assume everybody has bad memory like me.
Do we have more fan questions?
I think that's all we'll answer for now, just because we do have other stuff to get to.
We have fantasy bracket.
Fantasy bracket.
We've been talking about this the entire show.
Yes.
I have.
I'm so scared.
If you're watching, I have a dice. You're going to roll who goes first because we've learned doing this that could make all the difference.
Yes.
So I will let you roll.
Oh my God.
You want to roll just any number right now, but you want to roll high.
For me to go first?
Yeah, the highest person wins.
Okay. Oh, I see.
20 dice. What'd you roll?
I got a 4.
She got a 4. All right. Come on, Lady Luck. I got a 4 too.
That's weird.
That's crazy. All right, here you go. Roll up. That's wild. You got a 10.
I got a 10. Mid.
Here we go. I got an 11.
Damn.
That's weird.
That is weird. That's my favorite number too.
11?
Yeah.
Well, we're learning all sorts of things about you today.
Okay, now who is off limits specifically?
Okay, here's the thing. No one is off limits in this bracket.
Oh.
You get everyone.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So I'm taking Auric.
First?
First.
Taking Aragon.
Okay, you're taking Aragon.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Aragon?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm writing these down because we're going to post these. All right.
Aragon comes with Saphira.
I'm doing...
They're a package deal, Dane. It'd be psychotic to split them up.
Okay. Well, I take Murtagh and Thorn then.
Okay. Perfect. I think second, I'm taking... I really don't want Aragon and Arya to be together.
Ooh.
I am going to take Nargarshbra.
Oh, that's rude. That was pointed.
It was going to be someone you liked, Dane.
I know. So eventually. I feel like taking Triana just out of spite, but I'm not going to. I would never do that.
Wouldn't put it past you.
I would not be like that. I'm going to take Roran Stronghammer.
Of course you are. That was going to be my other pick besides
I would have picked Nargashbra. Yeah.
Okay.
So you nabbed one, yeah.
I'm going to do Bloodgarm.
Ooh.
Saphira Bloodgarm is now a matchup I have options for. I have,
hilarious.
Aragon and Bloodgarm, Ground Force.
You have Ground Forces. Fuck. Who am I going to pick? I'm picking Karn.
Yeah.
I'm picking Karn. He's in my bracket.
Forgot about Alive or Dead.
Yeah. You can resurrect someone. You know what? Let's say they can't be dead.
You can have Karn.
Well, no, because this opens up like Oramis and all the people we've lost. And I just think that gets crazy. I'm going to pick Triana. I got to have her.
I got to have her.
If I can't have that small magician, you got Bloodgarm. So I need someone to fill my ranks. And you can't go like elf number 5 in the elf square that strike team.
You could. Yeah. Darkest possible horse
Ooh,
pick.
Yes. What is it?
Dane, I would like to draft Garvin. Here's the thing.
Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah. He's a Nighthawk.
He's the head of the Nighthawks.
Yes,
right?
And we know that all of the Nighthawks are the best warriors and spellcasters.
Yes.
He's a battle mage.
Oh, that's so funny.
And he's so fun, and I think he deserves the world.
Okay, let's see. Well, you know who I'm picking next. We all knew it was coming. It's Baldur Strongbow.
You got 2 just normies on your team now?
I got. How many should we do? Should we do?
So bold.
Should we just do 5?
I like 5. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like my
you
normies
feel
are
empty
pretty
now.
Good. Who are you picking? You got You have so far. You have Aragon and Saphira, Nargashba, Bloodgarm, Garvin.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a magic heavy. Well, except for Nargashba, but he's a fucking call.
And yeah, so true. I am gonna pick Arya
Oh
and
my
Fiernan.
Okay, well, your team could kill my team very easily.
Super easily. That is so
But my
true.
team's the team you'd want to go party with.
I mean, I don't think so, Dane. Garshbra, Bloodgarm, Garvin, Aragon. In his like late stage Aragon, when he's funny, at the end of Inheritance, and just like binge drinks for 2 weeks before he leaves the continent forever.
Well,
I think we'd be fun. I think
hilarious.
It would just be the mission of, it's really all about management, Dane. It's being a competent leader. And I think what I would do is whip Aragon and Arya's into shape. I would either.
You would fix it.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Dark Horse, you get a 6 pick, but it has to be evil and it can't be Galbatorix.
What do you mean evil?
It has to be one of the guys on the evil side. Who do you pick then?
Fuck. I mean, it's Razak or Durza, right?
I mean, if that's what you think it is, go for it.
Oh, you look like you've got some shit up your sleeve.
Then make that choice. I'm
so scared. Well, Durza, I think, is a rapist, so I don't think I think having Arya and Durza on the same team would definitely
hilarious
be a problem. That was heavily implied.
Yeah.
I am gonna go.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a boogie bird, Dane.
Oh, you're doing a Razak.
I'm doing Last of the Razak. Whoever that lady Razak was that was like,
the last
do
one?
me a favor, Aragon.
I almost said that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
So you want a Lady Razak.
Yeah.
All right.
Oof. Ugh.
What a weird choice for your team. Now you're definitely not the people want to go party with.
Who are you picking?
Ugh, Lord Barst, obviously. He's broken. I don't even need the rest of my team. Lord Barst will just kill all of you guys.
Lord Barst is not killing Aragon and Saphira with all their Eldenari, with their pocket dimension full of Eldenari.
I was going to pick the shade that got killed right away. What was his name? I don't know.
No.
Anyway, we should move on. That's the bracket we talked about for the whole season. I feel like you did well.
Yeah. I think I came out on top. Our team has been in a rebuilding phase for a long time. So we're a young team, yes. But I think we have the legs to really create a dynasty. I think we could three-peat, Dane. I don't know what we're three-peating at. I'm just trying to do sports stuff.
You get Fiernan too.
Yes. Dane, duh.
You have 2 writers.
Yes.
I have
squandered an opportunity on Baldur Strongbow.
I stand by that choice.
I know you do.
I stand by it.
I know you do. Does he have his hand back?
Yeah, it's bionic. And
it's a robot dragon hand.
Robot dragon hand.
Perfect.
I should have picked the robot dragon.
I should have picked the robot dragon.
Well, okay.
Can we have a 6th player? No. Okay,
we already have a 6th Dark Horse.
It's fine.
Okay.
I think now that we finally drafted our endgame inheritance teams,
that's hilarious.
I know you wanted to talk about, and we've talked about so much. I mean, I think some of this is cooked up, together theories you have for ways you would change the story, like some small, some larger. But I mean, you have talked about like some of your largest problems with the series, and I think you are a person who really only digs in with dislike if you can see a way to fix it, if you can see something that's better. So
I think that's the thing with most of the things I dislike. I'm like, it could have been so much better this other way. You know what I mean? I think what I'll talk about is the Arya stuff first, because I hinted at it in the last episode, and I like very lightly touched on it. Here's the thing. I just want to be very clear, and I know I keep saying this, but I do think up until now, a lot of people might be thinking that I just hate Arya. I really, really, really don't. Yeah. And my issue stems more from her characterization, and what I mean by that is I think there is a lot of times where she doesn't act the way her character would act, and I think the ending is the easiest solution to this. Yeah, I think that Arya wouldn't have become queen.
Yes.
I don't think she should have done that. So I think my biggest fix, here's why we'll do the fixes. Here's the issue. She shouldn't have become queen. It undermines all of Aragon's story. I don't think it fits her characterization to like want to protect her people, because I think it undermines that. And I think you could say, oh, well, she's blind to that or whatever, like we did at the last episode. And that's a fine reasoning. But it doesn't match all this buildup we've had for her kind of being the only one who's seeing it. She's kind of like the foil to Queen Islanzadi, who didn't talk to her for 70 years.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because she is circulating
out and about,
out in the world, and she's in the text a great diplomat.
Yeah, we brought it up several times. She doesn't act that way, but like she's supposed to.
But in a couple of scenes. Yes. There are a couple notable.
So I would fix those scenes. Yeah. There we go, right? Because I think we should prove that. And I think she would understand what this would do because she's a great diplomat.
Yes.
So I'm right there with you. I think so. Here's what I would do. I would, if you want to keep the love story, this is keeping the love story in, which I don't think is necessary, but I think we did talk about how it's a teen story, and I think a lot of people ship it. I think more people ship it than don't.
Oh.
So what I would say...
Surprised to learn.
Yeah, we're not a big fan of the love story. But what I would do is I would make her much younger. I would make her 30.
Okay.
I would make it insane for her to have left the... It would also make Queen Islanzadi make more sense.
Yeah.
I would make it be insane how young she was. Then I would have it so that that guy she was with, Fiernan or whatever his name was, that's her dragon. She's not with him.
Sorry, I was like, yeah,
that guy. I think that I would make that as like a love that she wanted but didn't do. Right. So then, what I would do is I would have Aragon not go as crazy in the beginning of this story about her.
Yeah.
And then what I would have is I would have her being as upset, but like tone it down. You know, the constant cowards. I mean, he's clearly not a coward. The way they met is he broke into a jail, stole her from a shade, and ran out of the Empire with his dragon. Then they fought a war, being chased by Urgles, got into the Varden, and then immediately in a few days fought a war. Yeah. He's clearly not a coward. And so I just think some of those things, we change that, we fix the diplomacy thing. And then I think you can make the whole love story be about her trauma with Durza, and how she's not ready with that, and he's younger, and she feels weird about that.
Yeah.
And I think you could have a lot more fun with them.
Yeah, there's still an age gap, but it's something that is like palatable in this world. You know?
It's less unpalatable, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other. I had a lot more fixes on that, but I think that's the easiest solution. And then what you do is I wouldn't make her a writer. Like, if you're going to make her the queen and they're not going to be in love at the end, right, because you want them to age up, I would go, she's not the Green Rider. She is the queen at that point, and she has to stay to help her people. That fits her character.
Yeah.
Or it's one or the other. I don't think it's both.
Yes.
Yeah. Or if you want them to end up together, I think she has has a dragon, and they end up, going together. I don't think you have her be both.
Yeah.
I think it sets up a weird power dynamic thing, too, with her and him, because it's already started that he's not good enough, and he's now the leader of the Dragon Riders. It just seems weird to me.
I mean, in any scenario, if they end up together, he's her boss, Dane.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. That's one of my fixes. I don't know. What do you think about it? I mean, does that...
I do think it does not detract from anything that I like about Arya. Yeah. I think, my biggest fix for people who have a really hard time with her would be adding that POV for her, I think it would allow her the space to like rationalize the decisions that she's making or like the things that she's saying.
You wouldn't soften her at all,
or even like her. Well, it just depends on
like the religious
extent to which you think. I mean, the religious thing is wild.
Yeah, it was just why I don't know how you make that sympathetic or make it. Again, it just goes against the diplomacy thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. There's some scenes I would just probably change a little bit.
Yeah,
I think you could keep the essence of them.
Yes,
you know.
I think the way she came at that guy was obviously a bit much, especially being like in his temple. I mean, and the thing with that too is like, I could kind of see like if she thinks their only hope, the only like right or left is being adopted by dwarves and like is going to convert to the dwarven religion, there could be some real fear in her about what that means. We know by the way things end, like that is a real fear of hers, how connected Aragon becomes to all the other cultures. I mean, it's a bad look for her, but we know that's there in her character.
Yeah.
So
I think a point of view would fix that?
I think a point of view would make it clear what her character thinks about these things and like make some of her choices sympathetic, add some depth to like why she's doing it, even if it's a bad choice. I mean, we watch Aragon make mistakes quite often, but we know why he's doing them. And it feels like, I wish you hadn't done that.
Right.
But I understand your motivations as a person.
Yeah. I think with these two changes, you could make a very good love story. I think you could do it.
Yeah. I think the age thing would help if you want to make it a love story. But I guess my easiest fix is adding a point of view and not making her in love with him, like fleshing out why it's not time for her to be in a relationship and like how because I can see through her lens of like, she does not feel like she can snub him or like,
yeah. I mean,
you know, she feels like she has to be friendly and like help him because he obviously needs help.
Right.
And like she does try most of the time until kind of this last book by and large to like really put him at arm's length and like help him in her own special manner. Special.
Even with that, you know what gets me, and we can end this whole fixing Arya thing. If you have one more thing to add, we can do that too. But I think for me, the biggest issue has always been, I think the age is beyond the love story for me. I find it hard. It's a weird look for a 16-year-old's best friend and traveling companion to be 100 years old. And for me, you just have to change her age. You know what I mean? I don't think she acts particularly older than 100. No. I don't think that would be a hard fix. But for me, I think like the biggest single change would change her backstory a little bit and change her age.
Yeah.
But like I could take or leave their love story like you. I could take or leave it.
Yeah. I don't feel compelled to fix that. Just explain why she doesn't want it and then make it not happen.
Yeah. I think the other stuff, the easiest fix, I think actually, which would like truly, I think Disney Plus should do, is like Marcus Tabor and the Barst. Like, because here's the deal.
You're a Marcus Tabor truther.
I am.
Listen, listeners, this is why you keep hearing about Marcus Tabor on all these episodes.
Okay, a lot of people say the Barst is like comes out of nowhere. Paolini wants a fix. He wants a solution to the problem, whatever. I think what you could do with Marcus Tabor is he's in Dracleona with the cults.
Yeah.
I think you make him part of the cults. You drip him as like this great general. You have him doing dark magics. You have him being very close with both the Church of Helgrind and Galbatorix. You don't know who he's with. You don't know who he really sides with. Turns out at the end, he's a Galbatorix guy. He's not a like Helgrind guy, which is why he has all of his limbs.
So he like abandons Dracleona to like man the siege in like man the walls in Urobane,
or just
so
leaves.
You can still have both.
Yeah, or maybe he's in the battle. Maybe he does something cool and like dark and weird and mysterious in that battle and leaves. You know what I mean? But then when he shows up and he's like all strange with magic,
beefed up.
He's all beefed up. We've just heard of this guy. I think that would make a lot more sense for people. Seem a lot less out of like left field. The build up from him since. I think it's like the 23rd chapter of the first book. It's not very far into the book.
No, when they're in Dracleona.
Yeah. And I think that would make more sense. And I think then Lord Barst seems crazy. And you've heard about him. There's been all this mystique around him.
Yes, like little lines here and there.
And the magic thing you can kind of wave away as like some of that is, maybe he's all scarred up. And
the same way I'm like, Murtag's strength problem. Like, if that's spirit shade stuff, sure. We know about other types of magic.
Yes.
So, like, it's not inconceivable that he has some, like, weird Rozak boosties we don't know about.
Yeah, I think that's
I think it makes it
cool.
make more sense that there would be Rozak eggs hidden in Urobane that have mysteriously disappeared that I hate.
Right.
I think about that once a month.
Well, what's your thought? What do you think about anything with that? I have a theory on that.
Why the eggs were there, or
why they're gone.
Oh.
I think
I don't have a theory at all about why they're gone.
I think the cult had an inside person when like working in Urobane, and they knew that this was kind of happening.
That would make a lot of sense.
And then when it was destroyed, they did their thing. They ran, they got the eggs, and they got the hell out.
Ooh. I mean, they are famously tunnelers, so it would make sense that they have some tunnels into
They had a
Urbane.
secret tunnel out.
Okay, I could totally see that. I am not at all opposed to Lord Barst fix.
Okay, you like that Marcus
Yes,
Tabor
so
fix?
you're just swapping him for Marcus Tabor. You're dropping hints throughout the books. You're making Marcus Tabor. You're fleshing out his shifting alliances.
Yeah, maybe we show him in that thing where he's there. We get a look at him. Maybe he is in that last battle in the next book, and we've heard about him the same amount. So then when he shows up,
but at that final battle, you're still like giving him one Eldenari, having him be about as powerful as Lord Barst, and having the confusion be like cult magic, Rozak magic.
Here's the thing: the Lord Barst problem is he's just too powerful. So you would also have to scale down his power. I think.
Okay.
But I think he could still be more powerful than what we've seen to that point. I think you could do something like that, and I think especially after the Priest of Hellgrind, you're like, oh gosh, this is some weird dark ass magic. You know what I mean? I think you could even confuse people and be like, is he a shade? Or, you know what I mean? I think there's something you can do there. It might even be cool. I don't know. You could even have, I don't know. Now it's getting crazy. I'm like, he could have like a fucking like little Rozak on
Send
a
us
chain.
an email if you want Dane to write fanfic.
But I think there's something there, and I also think could fix Barst.
Yeah.
Better, because you could start the Stronghammer comparison, which he's clearly supposed to be, earlier in the books. And you could, if you bring down his power, make them confront earlier, you've solved the problem.
Yeah.
If you need Queen Islandali to die, she's not a main character.
Well,
she dies off screen. Like, she just doesn't need to happen that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't mind having her die on screen.
Yeah.
In a book as long and like in a saga like this, I think that's fine. What do you mean by making Marcus Tabor or Lord Barst and Roran confront each other earlier, like at a different battle, or
No. I mean, like earlier in that battle, or you just skip all the like crazy stuff. Because like the thing with the catapults thing, I stand by. Like, there's just no way, like even Saphira or even like Shoryuken, is gonna take 5 ballista bolts in the chest, and survive. I just don't buy it. So I think you have him less powerful, and so that confrontation has to be earlier. So he can't fight
Islanzadi.
Yes, or just change the scenery. He's, in an alleyway, and the elves have been encircled, and their magic is all over the place.
So kind of create, because I think part of this fix too, then wouldn't it be creating another obstacle in Urobane to make the battle look bad?
You had a great idea for that.
What?
You came up with the werecats being
my double agent, my evil plan.
So Jacqui had this idea. She had an idea that like the werecats were actually mad that the dragons mess with their brain.
Yeah.
And then they join up with Galbatorix.
They like double cross
the Varden at the last moment. I think that coupled with just laying the battle out differently.
Well, and then there's so much magic fuckery going on in Urobane. I feel like you could excuse a lot. Even something like Islanzadi's death, like you could watch the elves and it would be like a horrifying way to drive home what Galbatorix have done to magic in the city.
Yes.
To like watch this like line of elves square up and have her go to cast a spell and just
they all fucking
disintegrate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all in one swoop, you'd be like, oh no.
And then you keep the laughing dead the same power they were when they were introduced.
Well, and I think it would make more sense in that context too if magic is becoming unreliable enough to not be useful in this battle.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense that Roran's your guy. Yeah. In a battle full of wizards, in a battle full of battle mages, it would make sense that Roran Stronghammer is the guy because magic's not working.
And if you're worried about like Roran still isn't strong enough, I think it's an easy fix to have to have Aragon, who can endless riches, endless connections, endless money, to like hand Roran a gem and say like, I tied your wards to this gem. That's Saphira's energy for 2 days. It's connected to you and the gem, the wards.
Yeah.
Like, don't go crazy, right? And then have a time loop on that. And then keep the same thing. He gets up after Delwyn gets hit with a storm. He doesn't go passed out. He does get caught by 5 guards, and they stab him a million times after he drops his. You keep all the same.
And he'd be fighting crazy, too, because we know Roran.
Yeah, he would use it to the fullest, right? So I think for me, that would be the fix. And and then we fixed a whole bunch of stuff that battle's more interesting. The Laughing Dead stay the same strong. His anxiety dies in, I think, a more interesting way, frankly. Lord Barge doesn't ruin anybody's thing. We foreshadowed it. He's even scarier. And I think the werecat double cross, Jacqui, it's so good, because I think it would scare the shit out of reader. I think you'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, the werecats are terrifying. And I think it does actually, weirdly, it would make Solemnbum more interesting if he stays with Angela all along and like betrays his race. That feels right for Angela and Solemnbum.
Yes. Or like, that could be really fun. I think the only other thing that I have is the Murtagh Nasawada story. And I kind of talked a little bit about that. I think just don't do that.
Just do not have them in love.
Yeah, don't do that.
Which way are you going? Because I think you talked about, having Nasawada like trying to manipulate him.
You have Murtagh wanting to help, and you have Nasawada
wanting some kind of redemption arc, but just not romantic.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have Nasawada on her end, like leaning into that. Maybe she even disdains him at this point. Like she doesn't care at all about his story.
Would make a lot of sense.
So he thinks you could keep the whole thing. He thinks he's being helpful, and she's like liking it. And like she really like loves that he's helping her or help. Yeah. And then you have her disdain him, and she's manipulating him to make him think he's a hero. Yeah. To make that go. I think it elevates them. I did say I have one more change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Elven Twelven.
The who?
What was it? We had so many.
The Magic Elven Strike Force of Doom, you mean?
Yes, thank you. How could I forget?
Yeah, I don't know who the Elven Twelven are, Dane.
I think you have 4 of them. Not 12 of them.
Oh, I forgot. We did talk about this.
We talked about this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 of them. They are like the laughy, funny one. You keep Bloodgarm the way he is. He's great. You then have like
Bloodgarm's our perfect boy. I grew to really love Weirden by the end of this book.
Weirden's your badass.
Weirden stays the same.
Yeah, Weirden's the
Watch
badass.
a bitch call lightning.
Yes.
And we could still lose Weirden because it would like hurt because there's only 4 of them.
And if he's the badass of the group, like the one that's like always like showing cool stuff in combat, which we need to see more of if we did this change, that death would be like, oh my God. Then you have to add a funny one that's always light and like goofy, kind of like your traditional like dancing elf who's like playing music all the time, annoying everyone, right? And then you got to have like the bitchy one.
Yes.
You got to have one who's like...
basically add Vanir.
Yes, add Vanir. He doesn't like humans, or she doesn't like humans. Maybe it's 2 girls and 2 boys. And like, she doesn't like humans. She doesn't like think Bloodgarm should be the leader. There's like tension there. And like, they have different relationships and friendships with Aragon. And then I think this makes a lot more sense. A lot of the stuff makes a lot more sense.
Well, see, I guess for me, like nothing about the magical elven strike force of doom is like fundamentally broken. I just think it would be fun to see their personalities fleshed out more. Yeah. And I think it would be a lot easier to do that if there are fewer of them.
Yes,
so
100%.
I think that's my fix. Not like I don't have any problems with anything they've done in the story or like any way they've been characterized. I think it makes sense that like they're very strong. They could take down Forsworn, and then they pop up to like protect Aragon and then do a bunch of badassery throughout.
I think the only changes you would need to do, for me, I think characterization of them is lacking.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to add that in, which is essentially what you just said. I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I also think Murtagh, all you have to do is change that he has 1 Eldonari. He doesn't have 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think 4 elves probably can, if it's a small little dragon, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it would make sense with everything else. So I think it would fit.
I think so too.
Yeah. I think that's all the fixes I have. I mean, I could come up with more.
Given enough time, world enough in time, Dane could rewrite this book to be unrecognizable.
No. I'm not a writer. But I have ideas. I'm an ideas man.
You are an ideas man. Yeah. That is so true. It's fun, though. I mean, you definitely come up with, I think, fun stuff and stuff that, because you love these characters and I think you think a lot about the characters in the stories you read, I do think you come up with things that feel true to them.
Oh, that's so nice.
At the very least, true to the way you see them, which is enough.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know if we have any other fun, like...
No.
bonus themed content. We went through our questions. We went through our brackets. We went through our fixes.
You have the Spotify playlist plug?
Oh, I do have. That's right. We should talk about a couple of them too on here, a couple of the songs. So we, first and foremost, for all of our Patreon subscribers, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We love you all on Patreon. We have put out a playlist on Patreon that like is all of our our episode title references. That's just exclusive for Patreon subscribers. And we update that before the seasons come out. So they kind of have a handle on.
They can see what's going on.
Yes. And then what we also got to talking about is how often throughout this series we say things like, this would totally be her theme song, or like, this is what's going through her head. And so we put together a playlist of all the character theme songs. It spans many a genre, but there's a lot of yarling because Dane's the one who brings up the music a lot.
I love yarling.
Yes. For reference, we, like for Aria, for example, there are a couple songs on there that we said would be her like elven, like twisty mind music. We have Toxic by Britney Spears, and we have Hello Darkness, My Old Friend.
Yes.
Simon and Garfunkel. Sound of Silence. I'm so sorry. That's the name of that song.
Oh, so how dare you?
I know, that was so stupid, but but we have those in there for Aria. What is a theme song? If you had to narrow it down to just one theme song that you've talked about for Murtag, or Dark Horse, you can pick a fresh one and I will put it on the playlist.
A fresh theme song and we'll put it on the... Oh no, there's too much power now. I don't know. I think I liked Vindicated. Because he never was. So I think it fit the most. You know what I mean? It makes you angry when you listen to it because you're like, why is this his theme song? He's never vindicated.
You love something subversive.
No. I'm just kidding. Someday by Nickelback. I actually do think End of Murtag theme song.
Yes, Endgame Murtag theme song
is a pretty good one.
If you had to give a theme song to your best boy, Baldur freaking Strongbow, what theme song are you giving him?
Big Boy by Dury.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he's got hams.
That.
Yeah. If you don't know Big Boy by Dury.
He does relax on his hams.
Yeah. Big Boy by Dury is just about being a big boy.
It's a banger.
Yeah.
Certified.
Yeah. Yes.
I love that.
I also wanted to just say something about behind the scenes.
Okay.
I just want to thank you. Because here's the thing. I think I do 2 segments at the end.
Yes.
Jacqui edits all of our shows. So we do outlines and scripts, and then she comes through and writes notes on the whole thing.
That's true.
Yes. And she punches them up, or she changes them around, or she goes, this doesn't make any freaking sense. and talks about it. That's on top of the work we do. So just thank you. And I sometimes feel like maybe people listening, maybe this is just me, don't know that. So those aren't just me done alone, you know, and I'm just the one that says them and creates sometimes just comes up with the idea for them, but the basis of them. Yeah. But even that I do checking with you. So anyway,
it's all,
thank you. It's truly made together is what I'm trying to say.
It's all collaborative and everybody is very much playing to their strengths, I think. Yeah. I am fundamentally just a really critical person and I cannot just leave things alone. So it is helpful for me to go through and be the editor and try to shape all of our ideas, because I think we have so many and we can talk so much, and try to pull that into, at least most of the time, I'm aiming for a cohesive whole, but I do have fun doing that, and I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, it was one of my back in the day in college, I was I could do journalism. I don't think I could ever write professionally. I think that'd be psychotic. I mean, anyway. Yeah. But I do think I could be an editor. I do like to read other people's writing. My mom has always sent me stuff that she's written for work and stuff, and had me edit through that.
I have sent you stuff for work and for school.
Yes, I've edited stuff for my boyfriend's master's and PhD programs. Yeah. So I am that resource for a lot of people, because I do like to do it. I like to try to get a sense for what somebody means and dick around with the phrasing until it's tight and cohesive.
And it's funny too, because I really do have dyslexia and ADHD, so it's a mess up in here.
I speak a second language, and it is Dane. It is Dane's specifically unhinged thoughts about the inheritance cycle. That is a language I am very fluent in at
Sometimes
this point.
I'm wow, I wrote this. I love this. I wrote this. Guy. She's like, yes, I know. I took your idea and I turned it around because it was backwards. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Sometimes it just hits different.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, just so you know, we do go through these chapters together, like on a phone call.
Yes.
And we read them.
Every time, read,
summarize,
joke, talk about ideas, and then, there's always stuff in the scripts that we want to write and surprise each other as the show's on.
Yes,
so
we add stuff secretly. And also, we take out so much.
Oh my God.
I would say that this is, the stuff we have talked about is probably, what do you think, like 60%?
I'd be shocked if that were true.
Yeah, it's maybe 50%. We take so much out, and some of these scripts are like half the size.
Yes, I think we, as we were running up to the end of Inheritance, did a quick calculation. We did word count on our scripts and then just kind of averaged out, multiplied by the number of episodes we've done. And I think we're pushing somewhere around 300,000 words we've written about Inheritance. And that's that's post edits.
Yeah, that's when a lot of it is gone. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff we talk about for hours to just never makes it on here.
Yes.
That's why sometimes we have jokes, I think, that you guys, I assume are just like, what are they talking about? We've been joking about it.
Yes. So true. Well, are you ready to call it?
I think that's the bonus episode. Let us know.
Yes.
Let us know if you like something like this. This is totally freeform. We're just talking.
Yes.
So we have bullet points right now.
Yes. We would be happy, I think, to do stuff like this after each book if it's something people want to listen to, or just do get to know your host type bonus content. Would be fun. If you want to send in questions for that, we totally will do it. But the show is what you want to listen to. So send us your feedback and we will reply. That is still a guarantee, and we will work with it. We'll see what we can incorporate. This actually, having this bonus episode was an idea from a listener. So it was something we had talked about, but it was something that we had suggested to us, and we're like, well,
I guess we're going to do it.
Hell yeah.
So I think we should do some housekeeping and announcements. We're going to do
Dane, you want me to clean your house? Feels rude.
No.
Just kidding.
We're doing The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, and we will be, that'll be next.
Yes, we'll be back with that in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, and there'll be a trailer before that.
Yes. We'll warn you as it's coming. Yeah. So we'll cover each part in one episode for The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm. So for that first episode, just read the first part of that book of short stories, and we will dig into it. And then after those 3 episodes are out, our 5th official season will kick off as we meet back up with everyone's favorite pagan death metal emo boy, Dane, and his even more emo dragon as we're reading through Murtagh. Spoiler alert. Thorn's a sad boy.
He might be sadder than Murtagh.
Yes. So we're going to be doing the full, is this just fantasy pod treatment to cover Murtagh, complete with our half-baked jokes, our unhinged asides, and all of the regular segments we do. I think we want to really do justice to Murtagh since we've finished out the entire Inheritance cycle. Mm-hmm. I think we want to take the deep dive into that as well. So that season we are thinking should be kicking off in early August, and we cannot wait to ride again then, book club.
And just so you know, we've talked a lot about the Aragon Disney Plus show and our podcast. Yes. It's looking like that is going to be a thing.
Knock on wood, Dane.
It didn't look like that actually up until a week ago. So a few weeks ago, maybe. It looked like it might have been dropped in all the craziness happening in Hollywood, but it does look like they're going forward. So if it gets to where it's at in pre-production, I think we might make it to the show. If that's the case, we promise we will do a show podcast along with that show. Yeah,
we would definitely, I think, want to do something covering each episode of the show in relation to the books. I think that would end up being where our book read-throughs are spoiler light. I think we maybe would allow spoilers for...
I think we might do spoilers
for the TV show episodes, but that'll all be...
We'll decide that later, but we did want to let you know.
Yes, kind of bring the totality of the series to the podcast about the TV show.
And then this is some thoughts after the show after that, after Murtagh.
Yes.
This is a call to action. We need suggestions now, because likely we will make this decision before we really shoot Murtagh.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we really need to know what you guys think. So you'll have the whole, I think we bring this up pretty early on in the season.
Yeah.
So you'll have a lot of the season to message us. If you got to this point and you haven't, please do.
Now's the time. We either have selected the book or we're
really
toying
close
around a couple options, and it would be so nice to have some weigh in from listeners.
And if you think, they probably already picked one, we're actually thinking about doing more books in a different way. So you will have a chance. We're not sold on that, but we might do multiple different things. So we're not decided yet. So please write us an email.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I think.
Is that it?
Yes, I think we can call it on original inheritance cycle. I mean, just with a last and final thank you to our listeners.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Again, I think I said this in our last episode on the book, but like every interaction we have had, every comment, every Reddit post, every email from our listeners has been so lovely, so thoughtful, and we're just so glad that people are finding this and enjoying it, and we're happy to be making it for our fellow book club nerds.
Thanks, guys.
We love you guys.
We love you guys. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Make sure to rate and review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Support on Patreon and check out our social media at Is This Just Fantasy Pod on TikTok or at Just Fantasy Pod on Instagram. If you have any questions or just want to write to us about the podcast, we would love to hear from you. And you can email us at isthisjustfantasypod@gmail.com.
Is this just fantasy? We're just two nerds and we love our fantasy. Come on and listen to us next time. Find out what our deep dive will be. Thanks for catching our show.